It was effortless for Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors, as unfortunately they dominate your Dallas Mavericks. We'll break it all down. Coming up next on the Dallas Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, Dlls Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are Dlls Mavs. We appreciate you joining us here on the post-game show. Yes, Bobby, you are part of Dlls Mavs even today as the Mavericks suffer a beat-em-down in the Bay as they fall 126-102 to Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry leads the charge for Golden State with 30 points in 29 minutes as the Mavericks see their 3-game win streak snap today, falling to 31-27 on the season and 13-16 away from the American Airlines Center. We'll break it all down here for you over the course of the next hour. We'll be joined by our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live in San Francisco a little bit later on in our show, and our national NBA insider Marc Stein will also join us as well to provide his thoughts and perspective on today's game, Bobby, which was dominated in the first quarter by the Golden State Warriors. They got off to a hot start despite the fact that the Mavericks needed to have this game today. The effort at times was not great. The execution was even poorer for this team, and it results in a blowout in the Bay today by the Warriors over the Mavericks.
Yeah, like I said before the game, like these daytime games, the really early starts, it was a 12:30 start out in San Francisco. It is tough to bring the juice. Like usually one or both teams come out flat. The Warriors did not come out flat. They were ready to go. And this Mavs team, over the last, whatever it is, 5 or 6 games, they've been playing well. They've been stringing some wins together. But even in the losses, they've been scratching and clawing and fighting, and that's something that we've really lauded them for. But that was just missing entirely today. Like, they just didn't look ready to go. They didn't, they just, like, mentally they didn't really look there. Physically, they definitely didn't look there, and the Warriors were locked in. I mean, the game was over kind of even before it started. Like, it was 9-4 Mavs, and we were, like, stopping the count at that time to try and take this win home. But yeah, I mean, the Warriors turned it on, and it easily could have been a 50-point game today. Like it was pretty rough.
Yeah, Kessler Edwards had a couple of dunks, including one that made it 9-4 with 9:45 left, and then the Warriors decided to go on what was a 16-0 run to make it 20-9, and it was pretty much over from there. Kyrie Irving got out to a poor start in the first quarter, going 0-5 from the field. At one point, the Mavericks were empty on 11 straight possessions, going over 5 minutes without a field goal in that first quarter, and they were down by 15 at the end of one, and it was pretty much over from there. Stephen Curry got going in the third quarter, had 16 points in a big third for him. But as Bobby mentioned, the energy and the effort was on the Warrior side of things, knowing that they had to get this game. They've now won 5 of their first 6 games in the Jimmy Butler era, and now are tied are the Mavericks and the Warriors in the loss column. Also with the loss today, the Mavericks and the Warriors tied the season series at 2 games apiece, so you didn't earn the tiebreaker if you're the Dallas Mavericks, Bobby, which was something that you were playing for today. But aside from all that as well, an emotional road trip already that was going to be going into the game on Tuesday, you felt like you had to get this game to give yourself some continued momentum with the win streak that you already had, but also getting ready to go and play Luka Doncic and the Lakers on Tuesday night.
I really don't see it that way at all. Like I said, I think Tuesday's game is Tuesday's game. This was a totally different game. Yeah, I mean, they just didn't look sharp. They didn't look engaged. I mean, they just, like, Kyrie had 2 fast break layups that he missed, like, in a 30-second span, and Klay was, like, so out of character ramped up today.
He was.
I mean, he was like, he was talking and he was
barking at officials. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, he definitely got raked across the arm, and that really set him off. Then he commits a foul, gets called for a tech, and then comes down and commits a charge right away, and then breaks a 3. And like, it just like he was like pressing, just doing too much, and it just really like they never really had like a handle on the game. They never really had a handle on it. They never looked really under control. They didn't look dialed in. Like nothing. Literally everything that they've done well for the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. Not including the All-Star break. Although I guess they weren't undefeated during the All-Star break.
That's true.
But their previous 5 or 6 games before this one, like everything that they did well was poof gone. It was just gone. So pretty disappointing to see for sure.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing loss. Some of the other numbers from this game, the Mavericks were crushed on the glass today, 54-42, 17-8 on the offensive glass. We talked about on the pregame show, you've got to be able to handle yourself on the defensive glass. If you're the Dallas Mavericks, we were talking about the Warriors as one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league and also one of the best teams in the league in terms of second chance points. And they got after it, especially in the offensive glass. I mean, that was personified no better than Brandin Podziemski, who had 17 points and 13 rebounds for the Golden State Warriors. He was a factor on both ends of the floor, but specifically doing a lot of damage on the glass. And for a player at the size of Podziemski to be able to have that kind of effect on the glass was a very disappointing thing to see if you're the Dallas Mavericks. Meanwhile, Moses Moody also had 14 points. Draymond Green had 13. Jimmy Butler had 18 points in this game. We mentioned Steph had the 30 points in the 29 minutes. On the Mavericks side of things, 4 guys in double figures, including PJ Washington and Kyrie Irving, who each had 17 points. Klay Thompson, who struggled mightily in the first half. In fact, didn't score at all in the first half. He had all 11 of his points for the game in the third quarter. It didn't necessarily matter much because they weren't able to make a dent in that third quarter. And Jaden Hardy in mop-up duty wound up with 11 points in this game. But, Bobby, there's a couple of numbers that stick out as we kind of recap and kind of break down how this looked for the Mavericks in this game. 2 numbers that really stand out to me, and they're both with the number 30. For the Warriors, they scored 30 points off 18 Mavericks turnovers and outscored the Mavericks 30-11 in the fast break. They absolutely punished them in transition, and they also punished them when it came to turning the ball over, and the Warriors did a fantastic job of that throughout the course of this game.
Again, just no control. There was just, like control of the ball. There were a lot of so many like telegraphed, slow passes, air melon stuff. Like PJ's trying to hit Kyrie on an alley-oop, and that was just, it was doomed from the
bad
start.
Idea. Yeah.
Like very early in the game, Dante had kind of a lazy sort of bounce pass, entry pass to PJ, and PJ had Steph sealed, but then was trying to like spin with the ball so that he could just gather one dribble, go up a power step and dunk, but Steph just got between PJ and the ball and took it, and Max Christie just, again, slow bounce pass that Steph poked away, like just not crisp, not sharp, not under control. And when you don't control the ball, when you don't control the tempo, you're not controlling the flow of the game. And even though it's a different Warriors team now than it was obviously playing in Oracle and even a couple years ago when they won the title, they still have Steph and they still have the crowd and they still have that sort of like sense of dread. Whenever they got the juice, whenever they got the crowd into it, whenever they have the, control of the tempo and the pace of the game, like their 2s feel like 3s, their 3s feel like 5s, and it can unravel so quickly. And so you have to, in that building, you have to control the tempo. You have to control the pace. You have to control the flow. And against this team, that starts with controlling the ball, but there were a lot of live ball turnovers early on, in addition to getting a couple shots blocked at the rim and then missing a couple fast break layups. Like, it really felt like the first like 7-ish minutes of the game, the Mavs are trying to get early offense every time down the floor. And sometimes that's good because if you're making all these shots and it's like you're just 1-2 punching the opponent over and over again. But when they're making and then you're coming down and clanging 5 seconds into the shot clock, like it's just really demoralizing.
Yeah, and they got the crowd in it early. It's already going to be an emotional day for the Golden State Warriors inside Chase Center with Andre Iguodala having his jersey retired after the game. Of course, the 2015 NBA Finals MVP. It was bad enough. Bob Myers was on the call for ESPN, and it just felt like a glazing fest throughout the entirety of the broadcast for the Warriors. Obviously, lauding the fact that Jimmy Butler has made a real difference for this team in terms of the Warriors already. But at the same time, if you're the Mavericks, knowing the urgency that you had to come into this game with, even with the quick 2-game road trip, and now having, after the game on Tuesday, 5 of your next 6 games at home, it is a crucial time to find a way to get wins. Yes, with the injury situation that they're dealing with, that no one is taking lightly, given the fact that all of their bigs right now are out of the lineup due to injury. But at the same time, this team had been finding ways to win games, and you're playing against a small ball team in terms of the Golden State Warriors with Draymond Green at the 5. They just simply did not have an answer, whether it was for Curry, whether it was for Butler, but more importantly, getting after it in terms of the 50-50 balls, the loose balls, the rebounds, the things that make a difference when you're as undermanned as you are as a team. The Mavericks simply didn't do that. And if you're not going to win the hustle plays, the 50-50 balls, the loose balls, and grabbing rebounds, you have an opportunity to, and you've got no big men, you got no shot, no matter who you're playing. And unfortunately, that was the recipe for today against the Golden State Warriors today.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know. I know we got to go for 3 more segments, but it's like, I mean, they just got their brains blown out on national TV.
I mean,
it was just, it was a violent game.
Yeah, they got their ass kicked today. I mean, there's just like all the words that we've said so far equal to Mavs got their ass kicked in every single phase of the game. It was offensively, defensively, in transition, on the glass, at the free throw line. I know folks were bemoaning the fact that Jimmy Butler was getting some really nice foul calls in his favor on some unfortunate fouls.
8 free throws was never fouled.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really weird how that works out for him. It just happens all the time with Jimmy Butler. It's such a coincidence.
Yeah, we don't like foul merchants on this particular show, and Jimmy Butler with foul hunting today. And
I love playoff Jimmy Butler, but my God, regular season Jimmy Butler is like one of the most annoying players to ever watch. I just can't stand that dude in the regular season. In the playoffs, though,
yes, exactly.
Oh my God, I love playoff Jimmy. The regular season Jimmy, 8 thumbs down, man. 8 thumbs down.
Before we take our first break here on the postgame show, let's get to our lively super chatters. So far,
dude, Henry's. Let's go, man.
Yeah, Henry dropping all the cash. We'll get to him here in just a second. Let's start with our guy Matt, though, with the $4.99 super chat. The Mavericks didn't stand a chance. ESPN got Bob Myers out of the studio to call Iggy's jersey retirement game. 18-5 in the fouls, 19-2 in the free throws at one point. Not a game fight.
Tough situation.
Yeah.
Bob Myers, I think the Mavs might have lost every game Bob Myers has ever called for them.
Oh, wow. That's a stat we need to look up.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah. And, of course, a lot of folks saying on the broadcast as well with ESPN, because they kept showing it 15,000 times. Both Nico Harrison and Lakers GM Rob Pelinka were both in the house today. Now, for folks who don't know, Rob Pelinka used to be the longtime agent of Andre Iguodala, so that's why he was in the building for the jersey retirement ceremony.
Iggy should have been a Mav, man. He should have been a Mav.
I said, that's another story for another day.
Being
yes.
a Mav.
Yeah.
This close.
But yes, Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka in the building. Of course, Andre Iguodala having known Nico Harrison for quite some time as well. But yes, ESPN would not let us forget that both Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison were in the building, which I would assume then that means Nico Harrison will be at the game on Tuesday in Los Angeles when the Mavericks visit Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. And oh my gosh, never mind. Let's get to Henry Diesel 23 with the first of 3 consecutive super chats.
Shout out Henry Diesel
of the $4.99 variety. Number 1, kid failed in Brooklyn,
probably even worse.
Worse in Milwaukee. They won a ring after he left. Nico fired the wrong person. Fire kid by 11:59 p.m. tonight. All right.
Probably won't happen.
Probably
won't happen. But yeah, I mean, after losses, fans are obviously sometimes pretty frustrated with Kid.
Yes.
I don't think that today had much to do with Kid. I'm not going to lie.
No, I would agree with that.
That game was there have been losses this season where in the fourth quarter it's like, man, I don't agree with these decisions. Yeah. Today, though, that team just got destroyed.
And low-key, I mean, Kyrie Irving was kind of due for a bad performance. I mean, he has been on fire.
Rough one for Kai, man.
Yeah, tearing it up.
Game for Kai.
But, yeah, rough one for Kyrie Irving. Probably due for one, unfortunately, of these games, but not at the right time that you want it to happen. Henry with another $4.99 super chat. How many times has this team not run plays, no direction, gameplay / execution? Jinxed us with the clapping cheeks, but seriously, Kid has to go. And he comes back with one more $4.99 super chat.
I don't think it was a jinx. That was a great moment in the show's history.
It was definitely a great moment.
Great moment.
Drop of the year so far for us here at the Dallas Mavs. Last one from Henry Diesel 23 with the $4.99 super chat. 3 10-0 runs and no timeout by Kidd. He is crushing Jason Kidd today. Steve Kerr called several at the slightest run. No bigs. Refs called every foul. Luka doesn't win this for the Trolls. Okay. A lot said there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you could. If you assembled a Mavs All-Star team, like all the best players ever that have played for the team, and they came out on the floor playing with that level of energy that today's Mavs did, I think that team would have lost. This was a loss of the team spirit. But yeah, I mean, I understand folks feeling frustrated with J Kidd not calling timeouts, but it's just something that's always been the case. It's always going to be the case, and for better or worse, that's just how it is.
Let's take our first break here on the Dlls Mavs post-game show. When we come back, the plays that define how this game was lost by Dallas, and also we break out the Correlastrator, as well as the Mavericks' poor rebounding factored large in this loss today. All that and more coming up next year on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. But it's game time here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show, unlike for the Mavericks in San Francisco today. But if you love going to sporting events, concerts, and anything else in terms of entertainment, you got to use Game Time to get your tickets. I use Game Time to purchase my tickets to WrestleMania coming up on April 19th and 20th in Las Vegas for a 2-night extravaganza. I was able to use the all-in prices, so I knew exactly what I was going to pay. Exactly. Yep, that's right. Exactly before
silent.
I was going to pay what I paid. Also, they got panoramic seat views as well, so I knew exactly where I was going to sit before I was able to purchase my tickets as well. They got the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They've also got Game Time ticket coverage, so your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply. Again, create an account and use code DLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today for your last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed.
Rugged Road is dedicating to creative, innovative, and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. They are so thick and powerful that even my very loud phone that just went off during that last read would not make a single peep if it was in that Rugged Road cooler.
That's right.
One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright, so you will never lose a drink or a phone. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. They are perfect for a variety of outdoor activities. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Mavericks get crushed on the road, 126-102 to the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, 30 points in 29 minutes, 16 of which coming in a big third quarter, sink the Mavs as they have their 3-game winning streak snapped as they get ready to head to Los Angeles on Tuesday night to take on Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's break out the Correlastrator right here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. Sincerely appreciate all of you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while you are here. You can also download our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Just search DLLS Mavs and write a 5-star rating and a review for it while you're there. Bobby, unfortunately, the rebounding, which we knew was going to be a cause for concern coming into the game, given how good the Warriors are in terms of the offensive glass. Unfortunately, the Mavericks, even without their bodies, just simply could not do well today on the glass.
Yeah, 17 offensive rebounds for the Warriors, which is a lot. Only 4 of them, though, by centers. So 2 by Quentin Post, 2 by Kevon Looney, which means 13 offensive rebounds were pulled down by non-5s. And that, if you watch the pregame show, you would know that is a huge issue. Now, why did it happen? Part of it is because of the way the Warriors space the floor and stretch you out, spread you out, but also part of it is because guys on the team weren't doing their job. Tanner!
What's up?
To the footage.
Okay.
Or to the clip. Sorry, we can't show footage.
Just a picture.
We can't show footage.
The
I will get in trouble.
pictures.
We have still frames, though. So Steph Curry, number 30. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, then I implore you to go to YouTube, but I will try and explain this as well as I can. Steph Curry is on the right wing, and he is going to make a cut through the middle of the floor. All right. We have Jimmy Butler setting screen for him. Kessler Edwards is guarding Jimmy Butler. Dante Exum is guarding Steph Curry. Face guarding Steph, meaning between the ball and Steph, so Draymond can't just kick it to him. Now, generally, on these kind of screens, what you're going to do is, as the defender of the guy using the screen, so in Dante Exum's case, Dante is going to go underneath the screen, or I guess over the top of the screen, depending on your perspective. Let's say over the screen, between the ball and the screener, and then meet Steph on the other side. At least that's what it looks like he is thinking he needs to do. Kessler Edwards, though, is thinking, I need to switch off and guard Steph. And so as we go to this next clip, we have the switch. Dante is now on Jimmy Butler, and Kessler Edwards is guarding Steph as Steph moves through. But because Dante was going over the top of this screen, look at all as Steph. We're not moving to the next screen yet, Tanner. I'm sorry for kind of vocally cueing you. But Steph is going to keep moving through the lane, and all of that space is going to be open for Jimmy Butler to cut into. Draymond has the vision, the anticipation skills, the passing accuracy, all that stuff to rifle a pass in there to Jimmy. Now, as he does, Dante is behind the play, so Klay Thompson has to come all the way over from the weak side of the floor to contest Jimmy at the rim, which he does very well without fouling. Excellent defensive rotation by Klay Thompson here to save a layup. Kessler Edwards, meanwhile, is out of the play. He's guarding Steph, leaving Dante kind of in no man's land here. He's not guarding Jimmy on the ball. So what should he be doing? Well, he should be picking up Klay's man, which is Moses Moody, who is now running undeterred all the way to the rim. And he's going to, in the next clip, he's going to just tap it in. And Dante is just ground bound watching the whole play. Klay's contesting the shot. Kessler is guarding Steph. That means Dante, even though it's a bang-bang play, you have to switch off and finish that play with the box out. That's the only example that I prepared for this show, but that same thing happened like 3 or 4 times in this game. A lot of other times, maybe you're doubling Steph, and so space opens up underneath, and the Warriors will just dunk, or guys will cut to the rim and finish with a layup, or it'll be tic-tac-toe, find him on the cut, kick out to the corner for 3, and that's a swish. That kind of action happens a lot, and when it does, you have to be able to contest those shots, but you can't just finish the possession by contesting the shot. You have to finish the possession by getting the rebound, which means you have to box out, because almost every single guy that's going to be a small forward or bigger for the Mavs opposition from now until the time that probably Dwight Powell is going to come back sooner than all the other bigs, until Dwight comes back, every small forward, every power forward, and every center will be taller than almost every player, if not every player on the floor for Dallas. You have to box out everyone. It's not just the tallest guy. It's not just the guy closest to the rim. It's everybody.
And unfortunately, that team rebounding or that collective effort on the glass was just simply not there today. Perfect illustration there from our guy Bobby Curlin on how things broke down in terms of the offensive rebounding that the Golden State Warriors were able to initiate versus the inability for the Mavericks to be able to complete defensive possessions by collecting rebounds on said possession. Shout out to Raphael, who just subscribed to Dlls Sports. I appreciate your support here on the post-game show.
Thanks, man.
For the Dlls Mavs post-game show. But not only the offensive or defensive rebounding was a problem, the Mavericks just simply could not stop the bleeding when they needed to, especially in that first quarter, which really was what turned this game around. If you're the Dallas Mavericks, you go back to that first quarter we mentioned a little bit earlier. Mavericks got off to a decent start. They were up 9-4 with just under 10 minutes left in that first quarter. But then the Mavericks, Bobby, went empty-handed, 11 straight possessions without a basket or a point. The Warriors went on what was a 16-0 run to go up 20-9 with just under 5 minutes left. Najee Marshall scored a bucket that ended what was a 5.5-minute drought for the Mavericks in terms of a single point to be able to start to hopefully turn things around a little bit. The Mavericks cut it down to 6 at 22-16, but then the Warriors used what was an 11-0 run again to go up 33-16. That came with 50 seconds left. And by the time we got to the end of the first quarter, the Mavericks had scored a season-low 18 points in that first period. Kyrie Irving went 0 of 5 in the 8 minutes that he played. Steph Curry got off to a big start with 10 points in that first quarter. But the turnovers and the ability for the Warriors to be able to punish the Mavericks off those turnovers, and especially in transition, really was set in terms of that tone in that first quarter where the Mavericks had 6 turnovers. The Warriors had 15 fast break points and 11 points off of those turnovers. In fact, this was how bad it was to the end of that first quarter for the Mavericks. They missed 18 of their last 22 shots to end that first quarter, and it spelled the game pretty much over from there. The Mavericks were never really able to recover at all at any point in this game after what was a poor start in that first quarter there.
Yeah, the Warriors had 4 steals and 3 blocks. So, you're usually blocking shots that are right at the rim. The Mavs missed a couple other shots right at the rim just kind of by their own volition. Kyrie was trying to draw a foul at one point, and Jimmy Butler kind of just completely olayed him. It was like pulling the chair on a guy in midair. It was actually really impressive. But Dallas was 5 of 14 on shots in the lane in the first quarter, so you're missing a lot of point-blank shots. You're getting blocked, steals, runouts. The hardest way to defend is after a steal, generally, because it's a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1. The second hardest time to defend is after a missed layup, because a guy is going toward the rim, he's going to miss the shot, and probably will end up running out of bounds. His momentum is carrying him this way when the ball's going back this way. So again, that's going to be probably a 4-on-3 or a 5-on-4. It's a quick outlet, boom, boom. Warriors are hitting a couple threes, getting to the rim, getting fouled, and it's over. I mean, it's, again, that's part of the whole kind of this symbiotic relationship between offense and defense. You have to use your offense to protect your defense, just like you have to use your defense to kickstart your offense. But whenever you're out of control on one end, generally you're going to be out of control on the other.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there was no control to be had after that first quarter. Kyrie Irving tried to get things going as the game went on, but it was just simply too little, too late. And that's been one of the things that we have praised the torch of Kyrie Irving over the last several games, his ability to set the tone offensively for this team. He got out to that 0-5 start in that first quarter, and when your offensive leader is not able to get things going, we know how much of a leader he is on and off the floor, but offensively setting the pace for this team, other guys just simply were not able to come along. Klay Thompson pressing in this game as well, out of character for him in a lot of ways. Did not get some early foul calls early on, but I just felt like he was pressing just a little too much, even in his third return to San Francisco as far as the Golden State Warriors are concerned. Did not play well, especially in the first half, going 0 of 3 from the field, 0 points. Really had no effect on this game. Did have 11 points in that third quarter, but again,
it had a bad effect on this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
not even. I wish it was a neutral effect.
Well, I mean, you're trying to think at some points, if you're Klay Thompson, trying to get yourself going, whether it be trying to get something going to the basket, but there just wasn't anything for him to be had there, whether it was outside shots, and then you add on top of the fact that he was barking with officials, not getting some of the foul calls that he felt like he should have, like you mentioned earlier. The one that Podziemski, fouled him on the right arm, he didn't get that call there. I thought he was trying to get tossed at one point because that's honestly the most I've ever seen, at least in a Mavericks uniform, Klay Thompson barking at officials, given the fact that there was some of the calls that he didn't necessarily get to go his way. Just as a day at the office was just bad for the Mavericks. And you don't want to have that going against the Lakers coming up on Tuesday, but just period overall, because the urgency that you have to have in these games over the final now 25 games going forward here, every win counts as you're trying to get yourself desperately out of that play-in situation. But if you're going to be in there, try to remain in that 7th, 8th spot to give yourself the best opportunity to have to win just one game versus having to try to win 2 games to get yourself qualified for the postseason. And now with the Warriors, you're tied in that loss column at 27 losses, and you finish the season series tied at 2 games apiece. So no matter how you slice it, not a great day for the Mavericks given the circumstances and where we are in the season, as we're going to be turning the calendar from February to March coming up here in the next few days going forward from here. But yeah, it's just tough day. Just a tough day at the office, man.
That was bad game, bad loss.
Bad game, bad vibes, bad juju. I mean, you said it on the, when I mentioned that Andre Iguodala was having his jersey retired after today's game. He's like, yeah, man, I don't know about this with the emotions that are going to be in the building. And the Warriors played with that kind of force early on, and the Mavericks just simply didn't have these are tough games to watch. These are tough games to watch.
Yeah, they now have the Mavs have lost. They're 31-27. That's their updated record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so usually sometimes this takes a second to update. They've lost 13 games now this season by at least 10 points, which is fewer than the Lakers, actually, but it's the most of any other West team in the top 10. The Lakers have lost 14 games by 10. The Mavs have lost 13, which, again, is tied for the most of any other team in the West that's in the top 10. I don't remember last year the Mavs losing a lot of games by a lot of points. It was right around this time of year, that post All-Star break, where they got smoked by Indiana a couple times and lost to Boston big and lost to somebody else really big. I don't remember who it was because I think I just blocked it out of my mind completely. But, you know, everyone's going to get your butt kicked every now and then, and it's about how you bounce back. And obviously the next game is going to be a tough one, so we'll see how they bounce back.
Yeah, that last year, of course, they went 16-2 after that. I think it was through 4 or 5 games, culminated with that Pacers loss. And the Mavericks obviously ripped off 16 of 18 in their most important games to spark that run.
Oh, never mind. Last year, dude, they lost 21 games by at least 10 points.
Which is crazy because they were really good in the clutch last year as well.
Like, I mean, they barely lost any games last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's
like, holy moly, dude. That means for the first, 4 months of the year, they lost almost every single game they lost was a blowout.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then in the second half, or in the final 18 games, most meaningful 18 games that they had, they went 16-2.
Look at what we went through, KG. Look at what we went through last year.
And look where we are now. Let's take our next break here on the Dlls MAVS postgame show. When we come back, we'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, to provide his thoughts and perspective on this game as we not only look at today's game, but also look ahead to that game in Los Angeles on Tuesday as well. All that and more coming up next year on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. But if you want to get fitted out in the best outdoor sports gear around, or indoor gear around, you got to go to FOCO to do it. They got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. And for your boy, a pair of Cowboys Crocs that I wear at home. They're quite comfortable and warm for my feet at the house. If you're going to a basketball game or a hockey game, you can show off your love with the team branded friendship bracelets. Shout out to Sarah, who provided those to us at our event at Cosm. Tanner's got his on today, it sounds like. Whether it's jackets, beachwear, or even overalls for Bobby Corella, there is something for fans for almost every occasion.
I'd wear some FOCO overalls.
You probably would look good in some overalls, too.
Oh,
probably.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. They also got some set decorations that you can see right here on set and behind us as well if you're watching here on YouTube. They donated a few of awesome pieces for our set as well, so make sure you go show them some love. Go check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description. For all non-presale items, use the promo code DLLS10 for 10% off. Shout out to FOCO.
I've got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans of your life. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and MLB. It'll make the perfect gift for anyone in your life, maybe even yourself, because self-love is important, KG. Created and used by the Gronk brothers, Ice Shakers has sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with workout bottles, and this is the one you've been looking for. We got a promo code, AllCity25. It'll save you 25% on your order. These bad boys are made with kitchen-grade stainless steel that won't absorb odor like the plastic bottles do. They're third-party test results, too. So you know they're not just making stuff up. And they're customizable. If they don't have what you're looking for, or you want to put your own unique twist on them, you can send them your logo or check out their custom shop to customize your favorite bottle. You turnaround time on those bottles just 3 to 5 business days, too, so you can get it right then and there. Order your team branded bottle today at iceshaker.com. Use code AllCity25 for 25% off your order. Ice Shaker. Show your support for your teams. The best branded bottles on the market. Ice Shaker.
As we continue here on the DLS Mavs postgame show, the Mavericks fall to Golden State 126-102, snapping their 3-game winning streak as they get ready to complete their quick 2-game West Coast road trip on Tuesday against Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers before they come home and play 5 of the next 6 games at the American Airlines Center as the Mavericks look to make their push toward the top 6 of the Western Conference. Right now, though, let's be joined by our national NBA insider. You can find him on X at the Steinline as we dial up the Steinline here on the DLS Mavs postgame show with our guy, Marc Stein. Marc, what's going on?
Gents, I won't ask how you are because I can take a pretty good guess.
Marc, the pain subsided long ago. All right, long ago.
Yeah, this wasn't death by 1,000 cuts. This was real efficient from Golden State today. This is real quick, real painless, and it's just and that's about how it went today, especially after the first quarter.
The Dallas Mavericks are still the only team to have beaten the Warriors with Jimmy Butler in uniform. So that's about the best consolation I can serve up for you. I mean, and the Warriors, they got off to that 4-1 start with Butler. All of that was on the road. Like, this team is just in a different place. They've totally been re-energized by this trade. And it's interesting because, Butler, they're still super small. Butler's not going to change the geometry of the court with his three-point shot, but just his activity, his know-how, the defensive brain power he adds to the equation on top of Draymond Green. They have a lot of stuff going for them now to compensate for a lack of size. And, probably no one wants to hear it. I guess I'm going to say it anyway, but I don't know how well this will land. But honestly, I was stunned that the Mavericks won the game at home. Especially they were way more shorthanded than they are today, and they found a way to win that game. I feel like today's result was pretty predictable.
And unfortunately, it was, as far as the game was concerned, after a big first quarter between what was a bad start by Kyrie Irving, a terrific start by Steph Curry, and as you mentioned, Jimmy Butler playing his first game at home in a Golden State Warriors uniform, with the trade having commenced and then playing all their games on the road. So on top of what was going to be an emotional day already at Chase Center, obviously the Mavericks contingent that was there, Nico Harrison, the president and general manager there for the Mavericks, Rick Welts, the team CEO there as well, Rob Pelinka in the building, the Lakers GM, former agent of Andre Iguodala. So a lot of dignitaries in the building, made for some weird optics from Mavericks fans, as ESPN made it very clear that Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison are in the building together as the Mavericks get ready to play the Lakers on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I was not able to watch the broadcast at my very remote location, but definitely saw that it was a prominent discussion among many of the people in my Twitter universe that are they just going to keep showing split screens of these guys? And obviously Rob Pelinka is there because, as you said, he's the former agent for Andre Iguodala, and this is an post-game jersey retirement ceremony that the Warriors had set up for Iguodala. That's why Rick Welts is there as well, having been a long-time Warriors executive. But I know that Mavs fans are not here to hear that story.
Honestly, it's better than talking about the game.
I mean, do you guys want to look ahead to Tuesday night? I mean, there's no real avoiding it, but I mean, I'm not saying it with any great relish. It's going to be, this whole, again, it's like we are at the 3-week mark now, right? 3 full weeks.
That's right.
And still, it does not compute. It does not add up. It does not seem real. It is still like, Saturday we all saw really the first virtuoso performance from Luka Doncic in a Laker uniform. And we're watching these games, we're taking it all in, and yet still you have to ask yourself, is this really happening? And Tuesday night, I'm not even going to pretend to forecast what it's going to be like because I'm not sure I can picture it yet. We all know it's happening, and it's still not sinking in somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the dark cloud that is kind of just hanging in the air
got
a lot bigger and a lot darker as I watched Luka just pick apart the Nuggets last night. I was thinking okay, maybe he's not feeling great, maybe he's not playing great, still figuring it out with LeBron and all that. Last night was
something,
quite a performance by the Lake Show. And so now Tuesday is uh-oh.
And that's the perfect kind of juxtaposition here. You got the Lakers and what Luka did on Saturday night, And then the Mavericks come on the back end of that and get the ass kicked by the Warriors. And oh, by the way, the dude who wasn't looking like himself the first few times he put a Laker uniform on kind of looked like the dude that we've seen for 6.5 years. And oh, by the way, he's waiting for you on Tuesday night in a nationally televised game. The question I have for you is, what kind of dignitaries are going to be in this building? Because not only are the NBA eyes going to be, the entire NBA world going to be focused on, like the sports world is going to be focused on this one on Tuesday night. I'm just kind of curious, like who could we see in the building for what this spectacle is about to be on Tuesday night?
Yeah, I will have to. I don't have an advanced copy of the guest list, so I'm going to have to do some reporting there. I can only imagine what kind of ticket this is.
You think Dirk is going to be there again, Mark?
Yeah, there you go. That's the
no
chance. No chance.
Oof.
I can. I think I feel pretty confident saying he will not be there.
Yeah, he flew home from the game, the first one that he went to, and it was like 8 degrees below zero in Dallas. And he was like, dude, I'm getting out of here. I'm going back to the Maldives.
I feel him on that. Yes, for sure.
He's now made 2 public appearances. His appearance at that game, and then, he did the thing Friday with the ticket, where again, that was prearranged months ago. And I think the first words out of his mouth were, when I signed up to do this, I never thought Luka was getting traded. I really don't want to talk about this. Now, he proceeded to talk about it, but both times we've seen him in public, I think the discomfort on his face is pretty readily apparent to everyone. So, like I said, I feel pretty confident in saying he will not be going back to Lakerland to take this one in. I mean, I had this pre-existing trip planned, and I just decided all of our lives have been thrown into upheaval by this trade. I'm gonna miss the game in LA. I'm obviously gonna regret it in the moment, but it's going to be an absolute circus. And Tim Cato's all over it. He will be our eyes and ears and repping all 4 of us, all 5 of us, Tanner. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. And I mean, trying to think about like regular season games with that level of anticipation, I think for us probably you'd put the home game in Dallas at a higher level, because that's going to be a whole nother just emotional blender for all of us to see 77 play in Dallas in somebody else's jersey. Like, Tuesday night's going to be wild and crazy and painful, but I think obviously April 9th will be even tougher on a lot of levels for a lot of people. But, if I start making my short list of regular season, most anticipated regular season games that I've ever watched or attended, I mean, both of these are going to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to double him or if they're going to switch on him.
Who knows? They might go the Atlanta Hawks route and not blitz him at all and just see how that works out for him.
But even if they take advantage of their intimate knowledge of his game, and if they have a great defensive game against him, it's just, what is that going to make everybody? Is that really going to change people's opinions about the trade? No,
not at all. I mean, the Mavs could win by 77, and it probably wouldn't change anybody's opinion.
For sure.
Good line.
That's good. Like the idea,
it would be funny if they did.
It would be hilarious. It'd be great for our show for sure. But the idea of LeBron on one side, Luka on the other, and them two like you saw it in the game yesterday, like the ability for them to play off each other. One on the weak side, you can throw it to the like. It's just they have found something there that I think will be on full display on Tuesday. But I think for me, and part of how we'll end our discussion here is, every time it feels like a Mavericks fan can try to start to piece this together somewhat, even though they'll never be able to really put it all together, the wound just keeps getting reopened over and over again. And unfortunately, it feels like this is the tip of the iceberg of how this is going to be for years to come, because no matter how much success the Mavericks have, and no matter how much success or lack thereof Luka has, that wound will continue to be reopened time after time after time. And Tuesday night is kind of the first time that those forces will collide with each other with Lakers, with Luka in a Laker uniform and the Mavericks on the other side, and how all those feelings will play themselves out for the next decade potentially when it comes to Luka in a Laker uniform, and how that'll play out every time he sees the Mavericks.
Yeah, and I think everybody processes it in their own way, in a different way. It's just, I mean, like I said, I am supposed to be an impartial observer. And, I know how scrambled my brain has been, again, for 3 weeks trying to, is this sinking in yet? And, I still get shocked and surprised. I mean, I would imagine that for people who truly love this team and, who make the Mavericks such a huge part of their life, I mean, I think probably the only short-term source of relief, they're going to have to go on a great playoff run. I mean, that's really, there's going to have to be a lot of instant, immediate, sustained winning just to change the conversation at all. And obviously for that, you need Anthony Davis. Great to see Anthony Davis traveling with the team. Great to see him get on the court, even if it's for the lightest level of shooting. There was not a whole lot of intensity in that video that circulated pregame. But again, it's March 6th before the Mavs really have an idea on how soon he can come back. And, they're going to have to win and win immediately to, I'm not even going to suggest make people feel better, to change the conversation. And with the roster in its current state, they're not really in a position to do that. I mean, this was the first bad game in 8. I mean, the fact that they won 5 of the previous 7 and could have won all 7 is remarkable based on the state of the roster. And, again, Luka's debut in a Laker uniform had to be excruciating on a lot of levels. Seeing how well he played yesterday. Tuesday, I'm not even going to try to describe it. April 9th, you just got to live it and see what that's like. I mean, yeah, it's... I know you guys are thinking I've supposedly seen it all, but this is all uncharted territory, man.
Yeah, none of us have seen anything like this. And honestly, we may never see anything like this quite again for as long as we are on this earth, given what has happened over the last 3 weeks here. But Marc, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for hopping on with us here on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. It's going to be a weird next couple of days as we get ready.
I'm just the warm-up act for Cato's Corner. Now the real deal begins.
The real show begins. That's right. Marc, we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Be good.
Bye, Marc.
That's our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line on X. Let's take our final break here on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. When we come back, we'll be joined by our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live from Chase Center in San Francisco to give us his thoughts and perspective from today's game, as well as hear what Jason Kidd and others had to say about today's loss to Golden State. All that and more coming up next on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show.
But first, shout out to our latest diehards. These are all people that have signed up since our last show, KG.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to James, to Blake, to Aaron, Darren, Eric, Harley, Tyler, and Sam. Shout out to each of you for becoming a diehard. A diehard is someone who is a member of our community here at DLS Sports, and you can become one yourself by scanning that QR code right there, clicking the link in the description below, or going to alldls.com/diehard, where for limited time, in honor of the Rangers firing up spring training, the Rangers are actually trying to win the title this year, KG.
Shout out to them being all in, Jerry.
Let's see if they can capture that Bruce Bochy every other year magic once more to bring one home this fall.
But look at you.
Jeff Wilson's out there covering the Rangers, and to mark the occasion, it's only $4 a month, $48 a year to become a diehard right now. When you sign up, you get a free shirt of your choice. We got more than 30 to choose from. You also get to join the DLS Diehard Discord server, a great place to go. I'm actually talking to somebody about Pokemon in there right now. Have you seen the Pokemon leaks?
No, I have not.
Dude,
not.
Apparently, no spoilers. So if you're waiting until Pokemon Day, I'm giving you 2 seconds to cover your ears. 1, 2. Apparently, they're going to release all the old games for the Switch. I am fired up.
Oh, wow.
I am fired up, baby.
Oh.
I don't even care about the final score of the game today. So if you want to talk to me and some other diehards about that, you join the server. You also get to read all the paywalled written content from folks like Jeff Wilson on Rangers, Tim Cato on the Mavs, who's out there in Golden State, will be there in La La Land on Tuesday. Sam and Sean on the Stars, who are about to play here pretty soon. And Clarence and Joe on the Cowboys, and more coming down the pipeline very, very soon. And last but not least, you get a discount on merch, you get a discount on events, which we're having a watch party for the Stars that already sold out. We're also having a golf tournament pretty soon.
Woo!
How about that? I don't golf, but I'll be there. You get your diehard card too. Thank you very much for those who support us, and for those who are not supporting us, thanks as well. Thanks. We're just full of thanks.
Let me tell you something. We appreciate the haters too, because
every day is Thanksgiving at DLLS Sports.
That's right. We appreciate the ones who support us. We appreciate the haters, because all of y'all make us better, and we do this for y'all because we're gonna be great regardless.
If we were doing this for ourselves, we'd just talk off mic. But no, we're doing this to hang out with each and every one of you.
For you. Let's be joined right now by our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato, as the Mavericks get crushed by Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors 126-102 in Chase Center. We're going to also hear from Kyrie Irving here in a few moments, as well as he talked post-game, offer his first thoughts on getting ready to face his former teammate, Luka Doncic, on Tuesday. But Tim,
you're very well lit, Tim.
Very well lit. First of all, number one, shout out to Austin Greer's God Mode, shining all over you right now. But at the same time, your thoughts on today's game and what the guys had to say afterwards.
Yeah, I'm in the post-game press conference table, and the Mavericks are just clearing out. Andre Iguodala's jersey was just retired. I saw, just minutes before I popped on, Jason Kidd, Nico Harrison, Michael Finley. It looks like they were taking that in, but they have just exited the building. If you guys could have brought me on sooner, I would have asked Nico if he wanted to hop on for a second. Don't think he would have. Think he would have. But yeah, the Mavericks are clearing out. They are flying to Los Angeles tonight. They may or may not practice tomorrow, and I'll be headed out to Los Angeles tomorrow. Still a few things to do here. But yeah, it was, my view of the game was basically that this was inevitably going to come, that it is completely commendable that Dallas had held up so well without all of the players that they're missing. It was very, notable. And, for a game, for a relapse, for all of those missing pieces to finally, show up in their absences, and for Dallas to lose in this way, I don't think it's anything but, anything worth reading into beyond like this was going to happen. I did think the Warriors played a particularly notable brand of postseason defense. The game plan was very focused. It was, they had instant double team triggers against PJ Washington. They did not put their best defenders on Kyrie Irving. It was Brandin Podziemski for most of the game when he was in there. But that allowed Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green to sag off to, be present in the paint and kind of in Kyrie's preferred spaces. And by doing that, Draymond and Jimmy were able to do that because they really aggressively sagged off Najee Marshall in particular, Dante Exum to an extent, PJ maybe a couple times. This is what Dallas is going to have to, really grapple with. That, yes, Anthony Davis will make a huge impact, but this is how some teams are going to try to guard Kyrie Irving as the team's main initiator, as the main creator. And some nights he's going to have it going anyway because he's that good. But tonight was not his finest performance. And that's okay. That's, justifiable with the run that he's been on, with how many minutes he's played, how spectacular he has been, not just over the past 2 weeks, but really, this entire year, calendar year. And beyond that, but specifically in the context of him, really carrying that load. And this was, this is what it's going to be closer to looking like when, I guess if Dallas ends up playing tournament, playoff series, it's going to be tough, and they're going to need to have offensive solutions. Again, Anthony Davis is going to help a lot, but again, we are not sure he's going to play this year. He was on the court, but as Marc Stein said, and as I saw, it was a very light shooting session. There was no explosive movements, and this is still a player who is not imminent in his ability to return to the team and the court.
Tim Cato, our Mavs writer, joining us live here from Chase Center in San Francisco as the Mavericks fall to Golden State. They get ready to face Luka Doncic and the Lakers on Tuesday. Momentarily, we'll hear from Kyrie Irving, who spoke after the game as well, with his first thoughts on getting ready to face Luka and company, not only with today's game, obviously, but moving forward as well. The Mavericks play on Tuesday, and then they have 5 of the next 6 games at home starting on Thursday against Charlotte. This team is now, Tim, tied in the loss column at 27 with Golden State as well. From a big picture standpoint, your thoughts on this particular game as we move forward on the final 25 games or so for the regular season here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big loss, and you got to move on from it. Of course, it is funny that the moving on is moving on to facing Luka Doncic in the next game, but I think there are some lessons they can learn from this, or at least it's nice to see what a defense that was borderline top 10 even before the trade for Jimmy Butler in the case of the Warriors defense, but has been even better since he got there. I mean, this is going to be the big, one of the huge questions for Dallas, like when this team is healthy, when this vision, from Nico Harrison of this team is healthy. Yes, they should have a very good defense, but there are going to be teams they run into, where their offense is going to be pushed and tested, and it's going to ask a lot out of Kyrie. So, in terms of record wise, I think that they've done plenty. If you're just looking at the standings and the implications of this loss, winning 5 of 6, especially some of those wins being very unexpected and ones that we did not expect the team to get. You could afford dropping this one. You could probably even afford dropping the one against the Lakers if that's how it plays out. But, obviously, as we keep saying, the wins do need to be coming because, Dallas still has an uphill battle, and they're still going to be without, most of their, all of their big men, I guess with the exception of Dwight Powell, for at least it's looking like at least a couple more weeks here and quite possibly, longer.
Kyrie Irving speaking after today's game with his first thoughts on facing Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. This is via Grant Abseth, who is on the scene there as well. We appreciate the opportunity to hear from Kyrie Irving with his first thoughts on facing Luka and Doncic and company on Tuesday. Take a listen.
Obviously, it's going to be a unique situation next game. Do you have a feel for what you guys are walking into in LA with seeing Luka for the first time since the trade and all that kind of thing?
You said, do we have a feel for it?
What are you anticipating in terms of kind of atmosphere or the just the feel of that game?
High level basketball game. A lot of good players on the floor at once. Outside of just the obvious of us being being in LA and being a former team, of Luka's, obviously the narrative's already written. I don't know what else I could really add to that. I'm pretty much focused and telling my guys just to focus on the high level game that we got to win. I would love to get into the motions after the game with you, but before the game, it's just about having fun and making sure that we lock in and have a deep focus. They're going to come in, and be ready to play against us. Luka's obviously going to have a lot of confidence. That game, he played well last game, so he's feeling good. And we just got to be aware of it.
So Kyrie Irving saying, look, we've got to focus on obviously the game that's to be played in front of us. We'll deal with the emotions after the game itself. But obviously he feels in his own words that the narrative has been written about what this could happen and look like as far as this game is concerned. That question being posed by Tim McMahon of ESPN, and Kyrie Irving answered that question afterwards. How did that answer land for you, Tim, when you heard Kyrie describing the feelings on facing Luka and company on Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, before we get to that, can you guys hear? I mean, there's ongoing standing ovations going on probably 100 feet from me on the court. The fans are still all in the building. Andre Iguodala's jersey is, if it hasn't been officially unveiled yet, it's about to be. Just curious.
No, but before we continue, we want to thank our television audience for joining us here on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. We'll be back tomorrow with our regular show at 1 p.m. right here on Dlls Sports as we get you ready for the Mavericks taking on the Lakers on Tuesday night. Our pregame show will begin at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday night as we finish.
It is being unveiled right now. I just heard the countdown. There is celebratory music. I saw, earlier in the arena, the black cloth over where that jersey is going to be. So, anyway, just always kind of cool when you're adjacent to a little, historical event in its own way, even if it's not the team we're covering. Kyrie Irving's answer, I thought it was a perfectly fair and fine question. It's Dallas is objectively going into a very unique situation. It's not going to be as odd as April's. But PJ Washington was also asked about this. We talked to him in the locker room, and he said, that they know how good Luka is. Somebody asked him, hey, you know Luka really well. You've, played with him in practice and for all these months and years. I guess not years, but about a year. He's like, yeah, I don't know. PJ's response was, I don't know how much that helps. Luka is that good. We know how good he is. I believe his exact quote was something to the extent of, we're gonna go out there and try our best. Certainly he acknowledged that, that Luka is somebody that, finds reasons and ways to get up for games, and that this probably won't be a situation that's too hard. PJ called, said Luka was still his brother, and was somebody that he is still close with. They had talked when PJ had his son. They had talked for quite a bit as Kyrie Irving exits. So PJ said he hadn't got a chance to catch up with him much beyond that, but was looking forward to that, but understood that he had to go out there and compete and do a job. So I say that just to contrast with Kyrie's answer, which was, completely respectable in its own right. The idea that you wait and, what's easier for Kyrie to kind of engage with is the emotions, once they've happened. But other players on the team certainly are thinking about it in different ways and were, willing to engage with it in different ways. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be an interesting game. Understatement of the century right there. But it's what, 48 hours away. A little bit more than that, but it's coming.
And it will be coming on Tuesday when the Lakers get a visit from the
watch along.
Yeah, we will have our watch along as well. So it'll be pretty rowdy here in the Dlls Sports Studios. We're expecting our guy Jesse Holly's gonna be part as well. Maybe Clarence Steele Jr. We're gonna have some fun among other things when it comes to this game on Tuesday night. Tim, we know you got work to do and travel to get to as well. We appreciate you hopping on with us here on the post game show. Safe travels to Los Angeles, and we'll be talking to you here as we get ready for the Mavericks take on the Lakers. Appreciate the time, man.
Absolutely.
Bye, Tim. Safe travels. Have fun. Oh,
that's our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato.
Quick travels too, I guess.
All right, live from San Francisco at Chase Center after the Mavericks fall 126-102 to the Golden State Warriors. Let's finish up our last couple minutes before we get out of here, Bobby. Final thoughts on today's game as we look forward to not only our show tomorrow. Obviously, a lot of talk is going to be, of course, about the next game for this team after the performance from Luka on Saturday night against the Denver Nuggets, snapping their 9-game winning streak, juxtaposing that with what the Mavericks unfortunately dealt with today, and now preparing to compartmentalize a lot of different emotions and a lot of different things for certain members of this team who had the experience of playing with Luka Doncic, but nonetheless, the eyes of the NBA world will be squarely on Los Angeles coming up here.
Yeah, KG, earlier today, I was watching the I swear to God, this is relatable and relevant, all right? I was watching the EU, the European Union International Championships for Pokemon. I promise.
I thought
Stay
he was
with
say
me.
like Feebler or something, but nope.
Nope.
He hit us with the Pokemon.
For Pokemon VGC. And Wolf Glick, who is the most decorated player of all time. He's won Worlds. He's won every kind of tournament. He's won multiple. Like he's the GOAT. And he's got 1.5 million subs on YouTube, or maybe even more. Like he's like the man. He's the man. Going up against someone who had never competed, had never even made it to a final before. So, you have a legend versus someone that is new to the scene, but they're here both of them are in the finals, right? And they do like this little pre-match interview, and all Wolf said is, "I'm ready." And he just sat down and he played. Wolf lost the first game. It's a best 2 out of 3. Came back to win game 2, won game 3 on a bit of a gamble, and it worked. There's like pressure situations, right? This is just a regular season game coming up on Tuesday, but it's not going to feel like a regular season game. It might feel like a game 7 of a finals, or game 7 of a conference finals, or a game 7 of a conference semifinals. And we've seen how Luka plays in game 7s of conference semifinals. We have not seen how this version of the Mavs performs in those situations. Can they be like Wolf and sit down and put on your headphones and block out the noise and just play the game? Or will they succumb to some pressure? Will they succumb to the noise? Will they be caught off guard again like they were today? Caught on the back foot? Will the game get away from them before they are even able to kind of lock in and figure it out? We'll see. We'll see. I'm really curious. I mean, I'll be paying very close. Obviously, I pay close attention to every game. But that's the thing I'm going to be paying closest attention to is how do they look? How does it feel? Do they look like they have control of the rope, or are they going to let it go right away?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be a weird feeling in that gym, and Luka might get it going. And when Luka gets it going, it can get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah.
So I want to see it. I want to see it. And we'll be live on the channel. So join us for that. I'm sure it's going to be a game that, win or lose, we will remember for a really, really long time.
At least until February or April 9th, when we have to relive all this all over again. And there's no doubt that the Mavericks will play with pride. They've got a lot of guys, a lot of skill. Obviously, they're dealing with injury, significant injury to their front court. But at the same time, this is a team, we've talked about it all season long, a team that fights, that competes, that plays hard, and for the most part gives the kind of effort befitting of a team that you want to be proud of and to watch. And I imagine that effort will be there on Tuesday night, because if nothing else, these dudes are not trying to come out there and embarrass themselves on what will be a nationally televised game, maybe the most watched regular season game of the season up until April 9th. So there's a lot of pride out there for these guys, and I expect them to bring that energy, unlike what happened today against the Golden State Warriors. And if that is the case, we're going to have ourselves a hell of a basketball game on Tuesday night, even with all the pomp and circumstance, and obviously the circumstances of them seeing their former franchise player wearing purple and gold for the Los Angeles Lakers. So we will have plenty of time to discuss.
I'm sure everyone is going to be totally cool. The whole
everybody's gonna be
night.
look, everybody's gonna be nice and chill when it comes to all of this.
It's going to be great.
But nonetheless, we will be here. The Dallas Mavericks crew will be pregame,
So
postgame.
9 p.m. start or
9 p.m. start, my guy. 9 p.m. start. That means our pregame show will begin at 8:30. We will have our watch along as well on Tuesday night. It should be a lot of fun, regardless of what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we
can see if the sun is set.
Oh yeah, we're about to go right now, so we can get you some sunlight before you get out of here.
There's not much left.
I know, so I'm gonna end it right now. But we thank all of you for joining us here on our Dlls MAVS postgame show. We'll have our regular show tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Dlls Sports, and then again on Tuesday we will have our pregame show beginning at 8:30 as the Mavericks get ready to visit Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. Appreciate our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato reporting live from San Francisco, and our national NBA insider Marc Stein for joining us on the show as well. If you missed anything on the show, you can go back and watch anytime on YouTube, and you can download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Search DLS Mavs, give it a 5-star rating, and write a review for it while you're there. That's our Mavericks host. Yeah, he's a host too. It's our analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLS Mavs. The Mavericks fall 126-102. Golden State Warriors. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here at 1 p.m. on DLS Mavs on DLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.